Open throat sound is the technique that eliminates sensations of passaggio. The technique that was used successfully by Pavarotti, technique that was used successfully by Enrico Caruso, by Beniamino Gili and Jussi Björling. Open throat sound is successful only if you use appoggio, or the support that comes not inward but downward, or sometimes described as drinking sound, because the sensations of this support are low. So when you open your throat and you support it perfectly with this type of low abdominal type of support, then it has the quality of not modified sound, at the same time perfectly secure. When larynx doesn't move, we have this connection between chest register and head register. Therefore, the vowels, they sound a little darker than naturally. A lot of singers use this term, covered sound, by actually practicing open throat sounds, like Pavarotti and Caruso. So if you don't use appoggio, if you don't use multidirectional support, your sound will actually be a white sound. So it's dangerous. So you have to, no matter what you get from these explanations, you have to really be under the guidance of your teacher, who will securely guide you to this. So this is a demonstration of the open throat sound, supported by technique called appoggio, where you don't have to cover your sound or modify the vowels. Let's take a traditional F sharp where there are similarities of the three types of voice production, as I discussed before: the covered, open throat, and wide open sound. Let's start with open throat and wide sound. The similarities are that we do not cover vowels in that case. By saying so, I mean that we do not obviously turn I into another vowel on the passaggio or higher to make our support easier. White sound cannot be compared to open throat sound for one simple reason: it does not have control over support. When you go to passaggio notes, your voice becomes strangled because you don't truly control your voice. You don't truly support it. We do support it, otherwise we wouldn't have any sound, but what I mean is a balanced support. Balanced support is not unidirectional, is multidirectional. Pushing down, if you want this word, pushing down rather than up or inwards. And that gives us a perfect balance because it's more independent from vowels. We don't need to cover our vowels in that case. You have to reset the whole system. It's good if you have someone who can teach you that type of technique from the start. So the covered sound and open throat sound on the secure sides. It's just the way some singers use covered sound really irritates me, because it distorts the language, it distorts the vowel, it distorts the diction. So, I mean, it doesn't sound really all that pretty. I'll give you an example of a very famous aria, Farmi vedere le lacrime. This is one way to do it. Now, with the covered sound or modified vowels, what should we use here? We can use, instead of saying parmi, we can say pormi. It's very secure, but let's compare two sounds, okay? Now, what about the white sound we talked about? Lyric tenors sometimes use so-called white sound. Because open throat and white sound has something similar. The difference lies in the way you support. Open sound, but a really soft sound, it's secure, and it's up to you. It's up to your taste to use this. It can be used very musically. I'll give an example. One of my favorite singers, really love this singer, is Di Stefano. And I don't think that anybody can not love Di Stefano. It's a beautiful voice, definitely. A very musical singer. One of the rarest opera singers who can also sing songs beautifully. You know, it's a very rare case. And I admire Di Stefano. I admire his personality, his vocal personality. Me liking him as a singer has nothing to do with how I look at the technique. Because technique, we should consider technique as a little bit different from what we like. And we have to separate singers we love as a great musicians, including Maria Callas. You see, Maria Callas is probably one of the rarest singers that gives me as a professional thrills when I listen to her. It's amazing, and that's what's great about Maria Callas, you know. But if I recommend, if anybody asks me, should we listen to Maria Callas a lot, I would not recommend my students, especially sopranos, to listen to Maria Callas, because though she is a great inspiration, but she had obvious breaks in registers. She had three voices, as you know, it was criticized by, you know, of having inconsistent voice. Again, we have to separate technique from the charisma and great personality. So in that case, I would not recommend Maria Callas or my favorite Di Stefano as a singer who you should listen too much for technique purposes, okay? So don't get me wrong on that, okay? Right here, without using any placement or nasality or the tongue wobble or anything, we can all balance it here in a support. Does it make it difficult? Yes. It's not an easy technique. But it's the technique that when you get it, you feel like you really, you know, you're free. Your sound just flows naturally. And that is a more natural way too, because you see, it's open, it's almost not modified, it's a little darker, but it's not modified as much as we have to do with the cover technique. Especially for those who are younger students and who can still work on this type of very, very important basic technique. And I would say it's advanced technique in a way, but if you work it from the beginning, from the start, that will give you both beauty and security in your voice. Those who use open throat sound with appoggio don't have even a tinge of the passaggio. You simply don't feel passaggio in their voices because you don't modify the vowel. From the low to the top, it sounds as unified and very consistent sound. With modification or cover sound, it does sound like you're make it more technical, more manufactured sound, like the open throat sound that is used by singers like Enrico Caruso, Gilli, Pavarotti, Jussi Björling. I wanted simply to clarify this confusion. Hopefully the confusion is gone by the end of this lesson, but if you have any questions, you can please, I welcome this comments, even the comments that with disagreement, because I think that in discussion we can discover something. Thank you very much. I'm trying to cover other difficult topics on vocal technique. So, until next time. Thank you.